Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. This is episode 137, and I am so excited to bring back my next guest. Third time's a charm, baby, because this will be Nelson Cade III, third time on my show. Singer, songwriter, guitarist, originally from Orange County, California, but currently based in Baltimore. So Nelson started his musical journey at a very young age, and then in February 2020, he auditioned for season 18 of NBC's hit show The Voice, and he ended up on Team Legend. So Nelson is dropping his debut single on Friday. It's called Freedom. I'm so excited to hear this single, and Nelson will be joining us shortly. Hi guys, how are you? Happy New Year. What's everybody's New Year's resolutions? Let me know in the chat. Hello, hello. And did you see the video that I posted earlier with Nelson playing Billie Jean on the guitar? I reposted it from earlier. If you didn't see it, watch it after this show. Listen to more music. Yes. Please support your fellow musicians. Guys, we're still in the middle of COVID. Yes, there's live music going on, but people are getting COVID left and right. Shows are being canceled left and right. Please support your fellow musicians in any way that you possibly can. Stream their music, buy their merch. Yeah, definitely. Please support your fellow musicians. And I'm going to pin this comment that Nelson just put. Give me just a second, Nelson. I just want to pin your comment. Nelson!
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Nelson, thank you so much for joining me. Third time's a charm. This is your third time on my show. Nelson, we've come a long way.
Right? I love it. I love how I was here in the beginning and then I was there in the middle and now I get to see you as it blows up. This is awesome.
Oh my gosh, Nelson, I'm so honored that you came back on my show. You have so much good news to share with everybody, and you know what? I think we should just get right into it.
Well, I mean, the big thing is that, yeah, I'm finally releasing my own music. So I'm dropping my first single, Freedom, on everything. It's going to be on iTunes and Spotify and all the things on this Friday, January 14th, midnight. So really excited about that.
January 14th, Freedom. Nelson Cade III. Let's get it. We pinned the comment below. Guys, go pre-save.
Yes, it is.
Oh, D. Lyle's in the house. What up, D?
Yo, Darius is here, my boy.
Yes.
Oh my god. I don't even think he's heard it, dude. Yo, you have to hit me up after this. We have to talk about stuff too. Oh my god.
Yeah. New year, just like restarting new things. Yeah. I haven't even heard the song in its entirety yet, but I am patiently waiting, Nelson.
Oh, it blows my mind that people like are just excited. It's so humbling, and I'm so like ready. Like it gets, as I've approached the whole release thing, it's like it's exciting and terrifying all at the same time. I'm like, wow, now I get to be judged for all this stuff that was inside my brain. That's cool. It's an interesting feeling.
Well, hear your beautiful lyrics.
Ooh, I do like the lyrics. It was written at an interesting time. It's like, what do you call it? An amalgamation? It's like a bunch of little different stories. Those are the verses, and they all have to do with freedom, because that word means so many things to so many people. And I like that the song talks about that in way more than just like one shade. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. It's all kind of counterintuitive.
So I just want to say congrats. I'm so excited for you, Nelson. How are you feeling? Tell us.
Oh, man. I'm, like I said, it's like, I'm terrified and I'm excited. It's like an extreme version of both at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I can't believe that it's done. I can't believe that it's finally coming out. I'm really excited to see how, I mean, the world really reacts to it. I like it. I listen to it all the time. You know, I have like my own little audio file of it, so I can like play it when I'm driving and stuff.
Right.
And it's, you know, it gets me pumped up. Like, it's a good song. I like it. And I'm curious. Like, I still have dreams where I'm just like, wow, it's really going to be like on Spotify. Like, I could just have this playing in the background, or I could just have my shuffle up. It's going to take some time to get used to that.
Heck
But
yeah.
I'm so excited for it. Like, I want
Excited
to be heard.
for you. I'm so excited for everybody to hear it. And yeah, like we were talking earlier about Spotify and how important it is for artists to be on Spotify, because sometimes when you hear a cool artist, you try to see if you can find their Spotify, and sometimes they don't have them. So I think this is like a really coming of age for you, where you're just like, check me out on Spotify.
Yup. The name's starting to get some weight behind it. Just a little.
So let's talk about the creative process behind the song. Walk us through that.
Woo! Okay, so this one was written while I was on the road, when I was doing the weird Let's Try to Survive COVID tour before a lot of us started taking it really seriously.
Yeah.
It was an extreme amount of change happening in my life.
Yeah.
I had to recontextualize my future, my present, my past, everything else. Like, it was a lot of mental power.
Yeah.
And the entire album was born out of this, I need to do something with my brain to survive, or else I'm just going to overthink all this stuff.
Yeah.
So freedom kind of came to me because, I mean, how would you put it? It's what I craved. It's what I recognize. It's what I want for way more than just myself. And that's how I started coming up with, like, I like the idea that it's freedom, but in all these different instances. It's not just one song of just my freedom or that one version of freedom. Like, there's one of the verses is it's a girl who was walking across the stage picking up her diploma or her degree, because she's on her way to shatter the glass ceiling and get that freedom. And it's just like, it's a it's an unusual way to, you know, describe freedom. Like, maybe it's freedom as in now you have the power to do what you want, autonomy. Maybe it's freedom as in, you know, I'm kind of over the whole status quo and I'm gonna do things my way, even if it's a little against the grain. That kind of freedom. It's And so as I was writing it, it was I'll tell you this, it was really interesting finally getting to the part of the creative process where you stop deleting all of the things that like aren't perfect enough, because I do that a lot. And this time around was probably the biggest lesson to just let it be. And yeah, I remember getting to a point where I was like, what else do I add? What else do I take away? And it was just like, it's done.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I listened to myself when I said it, and then the next song started getting written, and the next song started coming, and it's just like I was finishing songs, and it was pretty wild. It's a new feeling.
Yeah. And I like what you said about freedom and how it can be interpreted in different ways, right? Like freedom of COVID, freedom of, you know, negative
Yeah.
emotions, freedom of everything, right? And I think it could definitely
Yes.
be taken in a lot of different contexts.
I'm really hoping that that's what people get out of it. I mean, the way that it's written, it's a very feel-good song, even if you're not listening to it, which is fine. I mean, there's so many facets to beauty. You do not have to pay attention to all of it. You get more of it if you do, but like, it's it was so much fun writing it, because like from the first, you know, riff, it feels good. It's upbeat and it makes you want to move. And then my boy Austin, oh, for the record, the entire single, I mean, honestly, the entire album is 3 people, myself included. That's it. No huge teams, no large entities involved. It was Austin, my boy Josh, and me. And oh my goodness, like Austin was killing it on the drums and the bass. Josh did all the computer producing stuff that I'm not there yet. And then every other instrument, every other vocal that you hear is me. So it was so cool, like doing all the studio work with the guys. I mean, we got into our creative space so quickly. There was so much synergy.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because it's like all of us are trying to do this with our lives. You know, this wasn't like let me see if I can inconvenience one of you. Like, no, we're all in the same position. We have really been honing our skills for a while, and we want to do this, and we're fighting to do this, and we're really never going to stop doing this. It would just be nice to get that cement going in that foundation, like, can we just get this on Spotify? And yeah, so we had like a videographer, my boy Julius. He might be in here. That's my cousin. I love him so much. He's a really good person. And he came in and he was like, recording some things. So I'm gonna have some like professional behind the scenes footage coming out as I start releasing things. And it's really exciting. It's really cool. We really tried to do this the right way and do all the things that are involved. But it was, the entire thing happened in a month. The whole album, the entire album was recorded in less than 30 days.
Nelson, seriously? How do you get this out of you within 30 days?
Well, it's a dramatic story. It was what, like a year ago at this point? That seems so weird to say.
I know.
And it was like middle of COVID. I remember speaking with Josh because in addition to being one of the best producers that I know, Josh is definitely in my like super inner circle. He's one of the closest friends I have. So when we were talking, he was like, hey, you've been sending me all these, like voice memos of the stuff that you've written, and it's like really good. Like, are you ready to record this? Like, I think it's time. And I was considering it. I was like, I don't have a good reason to say no to this. I think that it's worth it. I was just coming back from that tour. So I was all over the East Coast, and I was like, all right, cool. I remember spending my last couple dollars on just the plane tickets to get to California. I wasn't worried about where I was going to stay or how I was going to eat or any of the things that, common sense dictates you probably should think about. No, I was just like, I can afford to get there. And that's enough. I'm going to record this thing with my friends. And that was it. That was the entire vision. Starving artist gets a plane ticket. So I arrive and he lets me live with him, and we're doing it. And it was one of those come hell or high water, by the time I have to leave, this is going to be done. And it was. There were times where we got into the studio before noon and we didn't get home until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were back in the studio again the next day before noon. Like, it was just wild. It was crazy long hours, and it was just, we spent so much time together. And if I'm being honest, that month was probably one of the best months of my life. I can't wait to do something like that again. Like, we're a really good team, and it was a really good time.
I love that, because it's kind of like, to people that are not musicians watching this, it kind of sounds like a 30-day immersion program. It's so something that you completely love, right? And then you're just immersed in it completely for 30 days.
Yeah, that's what it's like. That's
awesome.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It is not for the faint of heart, but excuse me. It's so rewarding in like it's not like an instant gratification kind of way either. It was like every day you felt like the dream was becoming slightly more tangible, if that makes sense. Like, because as the artist, like, I'll speak in my own shoes. I've imagined having my own stuff just ready for consumption for years. That's always been my dream. I want to write stuff that inspires people. Matter of fact, before I get distracted, ask me about the most successful moment that I've ever felt. I have a story for that. So, yeah, like I want to inspire people. That's kind of like my whole mission, you know, like one day when I'm looking back at everything that I've done, that's the question that I'm going to ask myself. Like, did I inspire anybody? So when we're making it and we're waking up at these crazy hours and then going straight to the studio, and like you can hear this idea that was in your head and you start putting it into an instrument and the microphones are catching it and you start seeing it on the computer screen, and then your friends are there and they add things that you would never in a million years dream about, and all of a sudden what was two-dimensional is now three. It makes it feel so much more real, and it's so satisfying, and it's like whatever you would call the opposite of soul crushing, like just invigorating. Like it was that every single day. It was amazing.
I love that. So are you talking about Josh Belson?
Josh Abelson.
Okay. Abelson. Okay, sorry. Josh Abelson, sorry, I read it too quick because he's in the comments. I was like, wait, is this the Josh that you're talking about? Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Josh says, you inspire me, bro. Ah!
Yeah, that's my boy. That's Josh. I love him.
Sorry, I read the name too quickly, but that's the Josh that we're talking about. So I want to talk about the importance of having amazing people around you. Your label, Josh, Austin. Can we dig into that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's paramount. There's so many other words that I could use to talk about how huge it is, but you're not going to... Anything that's worth accomplishing is better if you do it with people that you care about, period. Yeah. So with this whole, this is my life's dream, if I were to be the stubborn guy that wants to acquire every single skill set, if I wanted to be the producer, I wanted to play all the instruments, even the ones that I don't know how to play yet, I'm just going to teach myself how to do everything. That's great. I might end up with some truly remarkable product. I might. That measured up to real synergy between other people, it's never going to add up. It's just, there's things that happen with collaboration that are born of the chaos and the spontaneity of that moment that you're just by yourself, you're never going to be able to capture that. So when I'm with Josh and when I'm with Austin, like we can be silly, we could be serious, we could be everything in between, but it's always going to be real, and it's always going to be vulnerable because, you know, like these guys have seen me through an interesting part of my life. So the whole vulnerable thing, like they have a really good hang on who I actually am. And they're cool with me, and we have an understanding and we respect each other. And it's so important to be surrounded by that, because when I'm in the studio, or honestly in any kind of situation around Josh, I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm not emulating anything. Like I'm myself. And even if I'm struggling with just being myself, like I know that he sees me, he's cool with it, and he's with me. Like it's this realness that it makes everything better. And I know that I can be that for him too. And Austin is just, it's all additive.
Yeah.
And it helps so much.
Yeah, I think when you're doing something creative, it's so important to have people that lift you up and collaborate with you and look at different sides of things, because, you know, when you're in something by yourself, you see it one way, but then when you bring two other people in and you can kind of bounce ideas off of you, it's so powerful, the magic that can come from that.
Yeah, like bouncing ideas was very interesting because some of these songs, when I wrote them, you know, I have my heart set on exactly what it's supposed to sound like. And you can tell that they want me to be happy. Like this whole project is just integrity through the whole thing. Yeah. So they were doing their best to try to see my vision through. And there were times where they had something to say and I was like, I don't see it, but I trust you guys. Like, go ahead and play it. I don't know what that sounds like. And then Austin would get on the drums and he would do something and I'd be like, that was wild. And I loved it. Like, that happens in freedom. that happens in, oh my, there's a song on the album called Red.
Yeah.
Josh will know exactly what I'm talking about. When I first played Red, like on guitar, it sounded nothing like what the end product was.
Mm-hmm.
I played it on guitar. Josh is like, I hear what you're going for. Let's try this. And I'm like, I don't understand how this is going to work, but I trust you. And I am so happy I did, because the song, a million times better now. I can't even argue with it. And it's, oh my God. It was like we all just lost our minds on that one. There were, and like that kind of thing happened time and time and time again. There was another one. So I'm gonna list a couple of the songs that are on the album.
Yeah.
There was Home, which turned out to be, I think, a bigger hit than what it was intentionally supposed to be. Mm-hmm. There is Cece's song. It's my little sister. I wrote one for her. And yeah, there was like a couple ideas that got bounced around, and it evolved and it grew, and it's just like, oh, this is so much better than it was. And then the real kicker for me was Good Morning Beautiful. That one was, I saw that one evolve and transform and change meaning like 3 times over. And even now, it's a different song than when I originally wrote it. Very different. It's pretty wild how things change. But yeah.
I think the evolution of music and songwriting is so cool, right? Because you saw it one way, and then there was this first revelation, and the second, and the third, and it's like, whoa, this is where it was, and now this is where it is.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it can happen. I mean, it could be the evolution of something like, there's nothing wrong with this. This is fine.
Yeah.
And that could turn into something that's like, and even that doesn't have to be like a replacement of it. It's just like maybe we add that part to it. And I didn't have that in my mind originally. And it's like, now this has a different context. We've recontextualized what this means, because now it's going to go into this thing. And it changes how it feels. And it's so cool because it doesn't always come from just you. Maybe I play the slow thing and Josh hears the heavy chorus, or Austin is like, what if we put like these drums here though? And it's crazy how deeply it changes everything. And it honestly, one of the weirdest things that's happened since the album, it changes how I listen to music.
Cool.
It's really interesting. Like you start, it's weird. It's like X-ray vision. Like I'll listen to certain songs and I can hear what they were going for originally and like what changed. Like just even from the final product, I could be like, that was the original idea and everything else has changed, or they didn't know what they were doing and this is winging it. And then like it came together in the end. Like there's so many different ways that it can happen, but I'm starting to just see right through the illusion. Just shoot as soon as you go, and it's pretty interesting. It changes a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's so cool though, because as a musician and when you're in this creative process, you hear a song and then you're like, oh, they did that, and oh, I heard when they went up there, and you know, whatever it may be, right? Like the very technical terms that you use in music, or like when you study music theory.
Yeah. Oh, whew. I could talk about music theory all night. That is like, that's where I came from. That is classically trained pianist for a long time. You know, performing art school, college, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
To all the people out there who hear that and get discouraged, I'll say this. It is a tool and it helps.
Right.
Does it give me the edge? I would not argue that it does. No. If you want to write music, you have everything that you need to write music. It's that simple. If you want to do it, that's what you need. Yeah. also the amounts of technology that exists is also pretty crazy. Like, if you don't know anything about writing music,
Yeah.
you can find a program that does everything for you, and you could just be like, but I want it to sound like this. And then you struggle to try to make it sound like the way that you hear it, which is fine. That's a part of the process, because you'll make a mistake. The mistake will sound better, and then you record the mistake, and then other things start sounding better, and then it builds until you eventually say, all right, stop, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
Yeah, and I think the technology has evolved so much, like in the past 20 years, when you think of everything that you can do, the programs, YouTube, TikTok. I mean, you can kind of get anything that you possibly need.
University of
Outside
YouTube is real.
YouTube, I know people need to give YouTube more props. There is so much free content on YouTube. Doesn't matter. I actually use YouTube more than I use Google. You know how people like Google like random things? I use
Yeah.
YouTube.
No, I'm on the same page. Like, I went, okay, so over the course of like the last 2 weeks, I went like full handyman DIY Nelson. That was
Yes.
interesting.
What did you do, Nelson?
So this room is my room, and
Cool.
right, and I painted the walls because I did not like the color that it was before. So I had to learn about how painting works, and that was cool. And then there was carpet in this room, and I ripped it out, and I took a bunch of trips to Home Depot, and now there's new carpet because we put it in and we stretched it and we put the padding on underneath it, and we did the thing where you like get it into the walls, and it was all this stuff. And yeah, YouTube is amazing. It helps so much.
Yeah, I love that you totally went like all Home Depot on your room. Like you're a painting expert. You ripped the carpet up. Like you are like all HGTV over there.
Basically, I mean, it's first of all, it saves you so much money, and second, like, I don't know, it's something about watching people do it on YouTube and like, this is enough information, I can do this myself. Like, it takes all the scariness of not knowing away. And then you try it and you're like, yeah, this is totally doable. And then you're like in your room and you're looking at your carpet and it feels good and you're proud that you did it. I'm just like, yeah, it's nice.
Proud of, because it was a creative process and project that, you're right, you didn't have to hire some handyman for. You're like, I did all of this.
Yeah, I had to take apart this bed and then reconstruct it, and that was a lot. And so like I'm over here building stuff now, so that's cool.
Thanks, YouTube.
Right? Yes, thank you, YouTube.
So in February 2020, almost 2 years ago, woo, time flies, you auditioned for season 18 of NBC's hit show, The Voice. Let's talk about this blind audition day, because for people who are familiar with you and your story, you auditioned for The Voice, for a chair turn, you killed it. But I want to talk about Nelson, that day when you first woke up and you were about to do your blind audition. Like, what was going through your head? How did you prepare yourself for this?
Oh man, I do remember that morning, actually. Nobody ever asks about that. Well, it's a story of stage fright and how it affects everybody differently. Personally, I don't really struggle with stage fright. Like the morning of something huge, it's, like I'm worried about, is my outfit ready? Remember the words, mechanical things. It's not the art of it. So I don't really have any butterflies in the morning. Like the best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is like just, if you have a routine, do that. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. So, you wake up, brush your teeth, wash your face, you go through your motions. That helps because it makes the craziness of it all feel a lot more normal. And then it gets really crazy really quickly because obviously this is not normal. There's the lights, there's the cameras and the costumes and the celebrities and all of your friends that you've made on the show so far. I remember not being really all that freaked out because, like, behind the scenes, all the contestants are doing their best to, like, enjoy themselves, have fun, try to not let the nerves get to them. Most of us, this isn't our first rodeo, like, performing. It might be definitely our first rodeo doing something on this scale, but we know a lot of us knew how to battle stage fright, which is just get out of the moment, get out of your head, just be present. So there was a lot of being present, and the stage fright doesn't usually take a hold of me until I am walking onto stage. That is the moment where, like, I can seize up, you know, the curtain opens, you get the cue from the stage manager, that door opens, the lights go dark, and you can hear the audience, but you can't see them. It is harrowing. I mean, woo, if you haven't practiced that, it can stop you dead in your tracks. It can, I mean, we're talking total deer in headlights. Like, I truly understand why they stop moving. It's,
Yeah.
it's a weird sensation. So I get on stage, there's the clapping, actually, no, there wasn't clapping. It's quiet. It's very quiet when you first get on stage. You can see the audience because it's huge.
Right.
But, you know, they don't know whether, like, there is some clapping. It's not like silent. Like, they're clapping because, you know, introducing the next person.
Right.
But they don't know who they're cheering for. They haven't met you yet. They haven't heard you yet. So there's a lot of stage fright. There's a million questions that go through my head, and it's all kinds of indecisiveness and am I good enough and trauma and all of the things that you wish that you wouldn't think. That's what your brain picks. It's like,
Right.
ooh, this is the worst possible thought for you right now. So, like, there's all of that. And my process is, and it's simple, you take a deep breath. And for me, as soon as I hit that first chord, that first note, I'm gone. Like, it's like this gateway into another world, which is why I never really worry about the art of it all, because once I start playing, that's all that you're seeing on stage. Like, my mind is inside of the art. I'm gone. Like, I wouldn't be able to answer a question. I'm not reacting to stimulus. I'm like, I am gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's crazy what someone can feel when they walk on stage, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, is this like really happening? Am I gonna like pass out? Like, am I dead? Did I black out? Like, am I here in this moment?
Yeah, the blackout thing is so real. That happens. It happens. And sometimes you're not aware that it's happening. Like, it's like lucid dreaming sometimes. Like, sometimes you feel like you're gonna wake up and you will yourself to wake up, but then your hand moves and you're like, oh, that's right, this is happening. And you look so dumb when that happens, but it's real. And, like, now I get it. I totally get it. I can't judge people for when it happens to them because it makes sense.
Yeah. So you pride yourself on always be ready.
Yeah, that's how I was raised.
About how it's so important that if someone says, hey, you know what, Nelson, I need you to play with the Rolling Stones, or, oh, I need you to play with Bruno Mars, you're like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's get it. Because you're always ready. So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So I thought that it came from my mom originally, because that's who taught me that.
Yeah.
But I believe it came from her aunt. I think that's the relation. So the saying was, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took me a very long time to truly understand what that meant. Because my mom would say that when I was a kid. She would say that when I was a preteen. She would say that when I was in high school. All the things.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it didn't take heart until until this one time I was trying to get my first job. Why do I remember this? I was trying to get my first job. I think it was like a mall thing. And I was going to work at one of those clothing stores. I couldn't tell you which one. Basically, it was like my first interview. So it was one of those we'll call you things. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I stood by my phone for like months because I thought that that's what you're supposed to do. They said that they were going to call me. I'm going to be ready for the phone call.
Right.
And yeah, that was naive, Nelson. That was a fun time. So I remember being upset because it's taking so long and I'm not hearing from them. Like, what's the big deal? And I could have sworn that it was like on the TV. I saw this mega concert. I want to say it was Wembley because that's still manifesting it. That is still going to be the biggest place that I play one day.
Yeah.
I want to be Wembley so badly. And I was like, man, why am I not doing that? Like, why can't I be there? And my mom was like, if they called you right now and said that, hey, you know what, the big huge band canceled, can you do it? Are you ready for that? And I was like, ooh, I don't think I'm ready for that just yet. And she's like, well then, can you get ready? I was like, yeah, I guess I can. Like I could practice for that. I could get that good.
Yeah.
It's not like you want to try to get that good once they call. Like that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So yeah, ever since then it was, you have your repertoire, you're always practicing, and you don't necessarily know how you're going to use what you're practicing for, but you make sure that whatever it is, you practice being so good at it that however it needs to be used, you're ready for. So, and this wasn't, I mean, I wasn't even playing guitar at this point. This was in the context of classical piano. So I would have whatever was in my repertoire would be hours and hours and hours of stuff, but I would make sure that if somebody needed something from the Baroque era, I've got my Bach. If somebody needs something romantic, I've got Chopin. If somebody needs something from the classical era, I'm like, do you want late classical? Do you want early classical? I've got Haydn. I've got Beethoven. There's all kinds of stuff, ways that you can put it. So that's how I interpreted it to begin with. And then when I started teaching myself guitar, it was, man, I don't really know what I'm doing with this thing. I'm trying to make sounds and whatnot. And eventually it became chords. And then you start learning how to put the chords together. And then you start learning complicated chords. And then you start learning, like licks. And then you start learning how to solo. And it just keeps building, and you don't know what you're going to use or how you're going to use it. You just know that all the stuff that you can use is professional use. Like it's ready. And it's served me well. Like there are so many cold call situations that other people have signed me up for. The Voice being one of them. I did not choose to go and do that initial like cattle call. I was dropped off without knowing. I didn't even have my guitar with me. It was just being ready. Getting into performing arts school. A lot of people don't know this. So I went to OSHA, to Orange County High School of Performing Arts. Yeah. Shout out to anybody who goes there or is from there. I can't see everybody in the chat right now, but I didn't even know that a place like that even existed. I was in 6th grade. The school is from 7th to 12th, or at least it was when I first started. I think it's like a whole thing now. My mom drove me after school to a place that I've never been to, and it's like a bank building. It's like a 7-story tall. Like I thought we were doing chores and we were gonna meet with some boring people, and I was gonna like want to go to sleep. Yeah. So she hands me some of my piano books, and she's like, all right, cool. Gives me a little visitor badge. She's like, I want you to go inside and play for these people. And I'm like, okay, like, I guess that's what I'm doing today. I go in, and there's like a panel of judges, just like The Voice. And they're like, all right, cool. So what do you have prepared for us? And I'm like, I don't even know where I am right now. I didn't know what to say to them. They're like, all right, cool. Well, can you play some Baroque stuff? And just like I said, I'm like, yeah, I've got some Bach. So you play some Bach. They're like, cool. Do you have anything contemporary? I've got Rachmaninoff. Do you have anything romantic? And I've got plenty of Chopin because he's my favorite. And so one by one, they're going through what I guess their prerequisite regimen is, in order to get into the school. I still don't even know what I'm auditioning for. Like, I understand that this is an audition, but I didn't know if I was auditioning for a competition. Is this a commercial? Is this some kind of, like, contest? I had no idea. I did not think that this was a school. I'd never heard of a performing arts school. So they ask, why would I want to go to performing arts school? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they explain it. And I was like, that sounds amazing. It's like, really? That's a thing? I totally want to do that. Yeah. And they got a kick out of it. They were laughing and everything. And it was great. I got in, and it was a lot of hard work, but it's just it's learning, you know. When you're at that age, learning is like all you do. You don't know enough to not be learning. All you do is absorb everything that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. And yeah, I would say that skill of just being ready has kind of persisted, you know. It's
Right.
gotten me into pretty much all of the good places that I've been, you know, so graciously admitted to, is because I was ready. Like, the whole thing about opportunity is that it's luck meets preparedness.
Yeah.
You know, if you're waiting by that phone,
Yeah.
are you ready if it rings? Because you don't want to get that phone call and then be like, oh, gotta practice.
Right.
Like, that's the wrong way that works. If
Yeah.
you're doing everything that you need to do, the phone's gonna ring. Trust me. And it might have something to do with some action that you made. It might not. But either way, when it rings, if it's mail, if it's a stranger that you bump into and they are impressed by your practice regimen,
Yeah.
like, you're gonna be ready. And God knows who you'll impress, but when you're ready, that speaks volumes to whatever industry that you are ready for. Because
Yeah.
there's so many people that wish they could rely on ready people.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people tend to be unprepared. So, what suggestions would you recommend for some musicians, I guess, specifically, to always be ready? Is it like practicing all the time, songwriting? Like, what would you recommend for them?
So the short answer is, whatever it is that you want to do in your field,
Yeah.
just keep doing that. Just find like, if you're a songwriter, write songs. I know
Yeah.
that sounds super obvious, but some people, and I'm not judging you if you are, because this was something that I did for a long time. You know, you think that you're just going to write a Mona Lisa and you don't have to do anything else before or after. And that's not how it works. You have to write, you know, it's like a faucet. You turn on the water for the first time in years and it's not going to be pretty. It's like this sludgy nastiness and it's gunk. Like, you need to get the gunk out.
Yeah.
Wake up, write your gunk. It might be horrible. It might be amazing. It might be anywhere in between. That's okay. The next day, turn on your faucet, you write some more gunk. Eventually, as you keep writing, the gunk gets out. And even when you're like dead in the middle of the morning and you're just writing for the sake of writing, it starts becoming clearer. It starts becoming water. And then, without thinking, you're writing pristine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you're just ready. Like, if you're going to practice anything, and this is something I learned in college. Oh, I wish I learned this earlier. Practice does not make perfect. Stop saying that and correct anybody when they say it. Practice makes permanent. If you practice a passage on a piano and you get it wrong and then you fix it and then you keep practicing and you get it wrong and then you fix it, you are practicing making that mistake and fixing it. You're going to get really good at making that mistake and then fixing it afterwards.
Right.
So if you're going to spend a lot of time practicing, that's a good thing. I'm not saying don't practice. It's just the quality of practice is huge. Practice makes permanent. If you practice something the right way, you're going to get really good at doing it the right way. Practice something the wrong way, same thing.
Yeah.
Another thing that I would give to anybody who is trying to go for it, find your strength in whatever it is that, like, whatever aspect of that industry that you fit into. If you want to be a songwriter, there's a lot of different kinds, you know. Is your strength in being a songwriter storytelling?
Yeah.
Is it crazy rhyme schemes? Is it crazy cadences? Is it a lack of rhyme schemes that somehow still feel as good? Is it how great you are with painting a picture? Is it reggae? Is it pop? Is it hip hop? Is it R&B? Is it melodic stuff? Like, there's so many different places that people can say that that's their strength. And it takes some time with the faucet on for you to figure out what your strength is. But when you understand that, no, this is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be good at that. Like, That's your strength. Use that. Like the whole, like, you know, best foot forward, like lean on that. Like,
Yeah.
I would say that my strength is, you know, like you come to one of my shows, and what sets me apart from every other guy that's doing a bar gig is that I'm gonna mash up songs that have nothing to do with each other. I'm gonna do really weird things to songs that you know and love, and I feel like I'm good at it. Like, I
Yeah.
will lull you into the sense of security, like, oh wow, I know that song, and then I start playing the song that you think I'm doing, but now it's something totally different. You're like, this shouldn't work. What's happening? But
Yeah.
like, you're having a good time, and like, that's my strength. It took a while for me to know that, because that's, you know, it's kind of a weird thing to get into. Not everybody does that. You know, when you think music industry, super weird covers is not like the first thing that comes to mind. So it
Yeah.
might take some digging to find your strength, but when you do, you know, own that. Get good at it.
Yeah, I think it's so important to know what your strengths are, right? Because I love your mashups. They're so fun. And I could just see and feel the passion in your music when you do it. And I love it. I think it's so cool, especially like when someone comes and sees you live and they're like, oh, you know, he played this Imagine Dragon songs. I don't really like that song, but the way Nelson did it, a fan.
I have I have had that before a lot. It's actually a really cool compliment when people are like, you know, I don't usually like that song, but when you
Right.
did it, it was pretty cool. And I was like, thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Definitely. So I want to talk about your time spent in California and Nashville. Now, I know you recorded the first album in California, and there is a second album coming, and that was in Nashville. So can you talk about California and Nashville and how these places shaped your career?
Woo, man. Well, California shaped my career way more. It's where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's what I know. It's home. I grew up there. Everybody I know is there.
Hmm.
And when I went back for the album, it was like this abridged version of California. I spent very little time outside of either living with Josh and Austin or studio time. Like, I wasn't enjoying California, like in all the places that I grew up. It wasn't that. It was
Yeah.
work.
Uh-huh.
And how would I say that factored in? I mean, it was a sense of relief and back to normalcy after having been on the road for so long and trying to get used to Baltimore and Maryland. Like, everything here is new to me. And don't get me wrong, I have come to love this city. It's called Charm City for a reason, and I understand it, and I like it here.
Uh-huh.
But when I was in California for that time, yeah, it felt good to be home.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nashville thing was, that's once again Josh and Austin and Raymond, actually.
Yeah.
That was their billions. They're like, hey, we should like have a trip where we just go to Nashville, because that's a music city, whatever that means. And we're just gonna get an Airbnb and we're gonna write music. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. So we did that. And this is way after the first album. This is this was last year. Oh, time. So we went for like, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say 5 days. It might have been less than that. But we went, we did some touristy stuff. You know, we got an Airbnb and it was really chill. We had a really good time.
Yeah.
We did not have a song written when we left. Like, when we were going to Nashville, we weren't like, oh, this one voice memo that I've been working on. Like, no. We went with nothing. We were just like, we're going to write a song.
Yeah.
So we ended up coming up with pretty much the skeleton of the song, like on a little toy keyboard thing in a couple of hours, like just on the living room floor of the Airbnb. We knew that like the last 2 days of us being in Nashville was going to be like actual studio time. It's like, we do not need to be in this studio writing. We need to like be done with that. So I was still totally writing lyrics during studio days. I can't even lie about that. Lyrics are hard for me. So we had everything else done, and when we got to the studio, it was crazy. Like, one, I'd never been able to play on a Rhodes before. It's a really cool instrument, and you don't get the opportunity to even see them, let alone hear them. They're pretty dope. So this studio had everything. I mean, just so much stuff. It was a gearhead's just dream.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded all of the instruments and we did all the vocal takes and everything. And the name of the song is now God's Honest Prayer. I remember there being a moment where we were on the couch in the studio and we were trying to talk about, like, we're trying to make sense of everything that we've done, because a lot of the times lyrics don't always make sense in the beginning. It's one of those things where when you learn how to just stop cutting the fat and you're just like, it's done, you have to acknowledge that sometimes your stuff doesn't make sense. That's where you get that kind of thing from.
Yeah.
So we were on the couch and I'm beating myself up because I'm trying to make sense of these lyrics. And I think Austin was the one who brought it up, and he's like, you know, where are you going with this? Like, what does this song mean? Like, where are you right now? And somehow I got to the point where I was talking about how I truly think that I'm going to make it. And I know that you guys feel the same way about, you know, all of us. Like, I really do think that we're not wasting our time. And I think I actually spoke this. I said, if I'm being honest, like, I'm not proud that I want all of this, because I do. Like, the name and lights and the fame and all the craziness that comes with the career, like, honestly, I'm signing up for all of that. I totally want to do that. I want to perform in the biggest places in the world, and I want the whole, like, crazy life. Like, I love the idea of waking up to a phone call or a text and it's like, hey, you're playing in LA today. Cool. And then later on during, like, when I land, I get another text. All right, cool. So you're in Dubai next week. And it's like, what? Like, I totally want to do stuff like that. I am trying to get prepared for that because I think that it's going to happen. And when I think about it too much, I'm just like, yeah, that a part of that I know is lust, and I'm not proud that I want it, but I do want it. And we wrote that because Austin was like, you should write that. I'm like, okay. So the entire finale is this really, I mean, I don't want to use the word magical because it's cliche, but I have listened to this song. It's not even done. Oh, I mean, like, recording wise, we're still going to do some new things to it, but I've been listening to, like, you know, our rough draft of it on repeat for hours, like, day after day after day after day after day. I am not tired of the song. It has made me cry on several occasions. And, like, the entire last part of it is just this whole coming to terms with, if I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want everything. And I wonder if I could get away with everything. Mm-hmm. If I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want like, it keeps going and it changes like one word and it changes like everything that I'm talking about. And then at the end, when the whole choir goes away, I say, if I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want anything. Because, like, this one thing that I personally struggle with is, like, the whole, are you good enough? You know, I know that I can play a good guitar. I know that my voice can make people happy. And that's cool. Like, yay. When it comes to the art that I have created, I always have to wonder if it's good enough. Am I good enough? It's a different kind of vulnerability. Right. So when I think about all these things that I want, I think about, do I deserve it? Am I good enough to deserve it? Is it about being good enough to deserve it? I don't know. It's just it's the thing that I struggle with. So I think about, if I'm honest, I'm not even proud that I want anything. Because, like, sometimes I'm really at that place where I feel like, oof, I have so many more dues to pay before I get to allow myself to dream this big. Mm-hmm. And it gets really vulnerable. But I think that people can relate to that. You know, who doesn't want something that bad? Or who's at the very least not afraid to want something that bad? You know, like, I feel like we've all been there.
Yeah. No, thank you for being so honest with that. I feel like a lot of people can relate, because the thing is, sometimes it's kind of like we doubt ourselves, right? People around us are like, you're great. And you're like, eh.
Am I?
But Nelson, I'm telling you right now, Nelson, you're phenomenal. You are so amazing. You worked with Stevie Wonder. You worked with John Legend. You were on The Voice. Like, the album is coming out. The single is coming out Friday. You deserve all of this, Nelson. Like, seriously, you are so phenomenal. I'm so happy you continue to make music and share your gift with everybody. You are so unbelievably talented. And honestly, when I see these videos of you doing like Billie Jean or like Linkin Park, and I'm like, I just like want to watch videos of you like that all day because it's just so inspiring. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's killing it.
Well, thank you.
Nelson, I'm not the only one that thinks this way. You just really just like, the gift of music is so powerful. And I'm so happy that you have, please continue to do music for the rest of your life. This is what you're made to do. You deserve everything. You're going to be on Wembley. You're going to be there. And seriously, when you are, a message and be like, we've talked about this millions of times on the show, and it's happening.
Woo! That's gonna be a moment. I'm not gonna lie. The ending of Freedom, there's like a moment where it just kind of dies down and like you let the song end.
Yeah.
And I still have this vision of Wembley specifically. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see the lights. I can see myself like walking off stage, still playing because that's me. And I can hear the crowd because there's a crowd chant in the song. It's really simple, very powerful if you let yourself think about what the words mean, where it's just, I am free, I am free.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an easy thing to say for somebody who has been struggling, like coming to terms with, no, I have all the power that I need to have to be happy or to be where I want to be. Like that's a lot to come to terms with. And it's a good message. And like saying that in a crowd chant environment where maybe it's just peer pressure at first, but you're like, screw it, I'm just going to say, I am free. Like, it might not hit you immediately. Maybe it's just like this cute thing that you're doing to be a part of the moment. But sooner or later, you might believe what you're saying. I am free. And it's a lot. A lot of people, I keep imagining the crowd chanting that and realizing that's where they are as I'm walking off stage. Whew, that would, at Wembley, yeah, I would be tearing up. I'd be a mess. That would be insane.
Nelson, this is happening. You've visioned it so many different times. It's happening. It's just a matter of when this is going to come to you.
Oh, I'm so ready for that.
We manifest it, we say it in existence, we speak it to everybody that we know, because the more you say it and you speak it, and you, like you said, you envision yourself somewhere, it's so important, because they say when you want to manifest something into existence, you say it, you speak it, you close your eyes, you envision yourself there, and you say, I am free, and it just like, it has this whole different meaning to you.
Yeah. Oh, I get chills when I get in the moment. I'm just like, oh man. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So the single is dropping Friday, January 14th. The single is Freedom. The album's coming out when?
Summer. I don't have a hard date for it just yet, but we're looking at I'm gonna be collecting like metadata after I drop the single to see who my demographic is and all that stuff. But we're looking to release it in this summer.
Beautiful. And then what else is to come? Are you doing any like live streams, live shows? Tell us what's happening in the next couple months for you.
Next couple months. Whew. Now that my room is done, I've been juggling a couple of ideas. One is kind of like a vlog situation.
Yeah.
Because it would be cool to, it would be really cool to like learn a bunch of different songs throughout the week and then have fans or anybody who wants to interact be like, just have them pick what they think is the most nonsensical mashup ever. Like, there's no way you could make this song go with that song.
Ooh,
and then, like, I have a week to, like, figure it out. And then, on the vlog day, I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, by the way, thank you to so-and-so. Here's me proving that this works, even though it shouldn't. And then, like, you do that on the live stream.
I like that because it really gets your fans more involved with your creative process, and they're like, oh my gosh, Nelson sang my song. And I think that's really powerful for fans, because fans love when they have that accessibility to their favorite artist. And I love that. When's that coming?
Whew. I mean, geez, I don't have any more excuses. It was the room and not having space.
And you literally just said it on a live, so I feel like
I know, right? Like, I should have thought about this. See, I'm not good at hiding things. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm going to start vlogging next week, because I think that, I mean, this week is a little busy because, you know, I have to have certain things in place by the release, and that's going to be crazy when it happens. But next week, yeah, I think I could have a vlog where I come up with a weird mashup by like Friday or something like that. That sounds, I mean, that just sounds dope. It's just gonna make my sets better. It's gonna add to the show. It gets people, like you said, it gets people going and they get to be involved. And honestly, that's my strength. I love the whole connections thing. Like, I bet you can't do, I don't know, like something that's reggae meets, I don't know, Coldplay or something. Like,
yeah.
Like, I could totally do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and it's cool because it like gets you involved with other different types of music, because right, like you have all these songs that you like to do. Josh is like, do it. I think everyone is like totally game, because then we can give you ideas and be like, hey Nelson, like do these two songs. What do you think of this?
It's gonna be very interesting. I'm gonna get trolled so hard.
I love it. So for the beautiful people watching right now, how can they support you, Nelson? Tell people what they can do.
Ooh, please go to Spotify and actually no, go to DistroKid, my DistroKid, and pre-save Freedom. So when it comes out, boom, it's just already on your playlists, because that will be amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much the best thing that you can do right now. I very much like that. Please pre-save my single.
Pre-save the single, and when it comes out on Friday, listen, stream, donate, share with your friends, add it to your playlist. It's so, so, so important, because then you get all that data and you can see who's really listening to your music.
Yes, that's what I want.
Yes, yes. So that's all the questions I have for you this evening, Nelson. But guys, don't go anywhere. Nelson is going to do his thing.
So, speaking of weird mashups, this is one of the newer ones that I'm working on. He just do what he please. Oh. He's a roller coaster, he's got underwater, he shoot muddy water, he shoot Coca-Cola. He said, I know you, you know me. One thing I can tell you is you've got to be free. Oh no. Very superstitious writings on the wall. Very superstitious light is about to fall. is a bad luck. Good things in your past. You believe in things that you don't understand, and you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Play that funky music, right, boy. Play that funky music, right. Play that funky music, right, boy. Lay down that boogie and play that funky music. Together, right now, come together, right now, come together, right now, come together, oh please. You believe in things that you don't understand, and you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Whew.
Nelson, I gotta be honest, I'm speechless. No one has ever done anything like that on my show, and I love it. And I actually couldn't keep up with some of these comments because like the hearts were going off. I'm just gonna read some of these. Deborah says, "Let's go." Mimi says, "I." Mimi says, "Love it." Colette says,
Yeah.
"Mimi says you better." Tom says, "Cool, nice, Nelson." And MJ says, "The instrumental alone." Colette says, "You're amazing." Dude, oh my gosh. Oh, the mashup? Woo! That's what you do best, Nelson.
Thank you. It's just like, it's such a cool thing to do. Like, why does Come Together go with Superstition? It shouldn't, but it's fun.
Love it, love it. So, you're going to give us a tiny sneak peek of what's to come on Friday, yeah?
I am. I'm going to give you guys just a little snippet of what Freedom sounds like. This is not an easy song to do live. This is definitely one of those, like, recording studio victories, so bear with me. I feel good, like I'm high above the clouds. Nothing in this world can hold me down. Wonder, got to wonder who's this masterpiece. She got red lipstick and onyx eyes and all my curiosity. 3 bosses down and I make my way to her side. I said, excuse me, miss, would you like a drink? Much to my surprise, she asked for freedom. thanks, give us freedom. Welcome back to a place where we said freedom. Didn't every time we thought and still cry freedom. Please, freedom. That's coming this Friday.
Nelson, oh my God, love it. People are definitely loving this song. How amazing. That was an Ashley Live exclusive.
Yeah, that is not something that I play live a lot. So yes, this was an Ashley Live exclusive.
Thank you, thank you. Love it. So amazing. So excited for it to drop on Friday. So guys, if you're in the chat right now and you have questions for Nelson, feel free to put them in the chat. He will answer your questions live and on the spot.
I will. Where do I? Okay, now I can start seeing them. I'm seeing hearts and yas. Oh, it's Mimi Girl. Hi, I know you. Hey, yo, Croctopus, that's Austin. What's going on, dude?
Oh wait, Octopus is Austin?
Yeah, that's Austin. Oh man, I didn't know my guys were here. How many hours do I practice a day? Oof, putting me on blast that fast. Okay, let's go. Are we talking like the record or like on average? Because there's like some days where I don't practice that much, and there are other days where I've literally practiced until sunlight came through my window and I went all night, and I've done more than like 5 hours in one sitting. I would say my average is like, oof, I'm not proud of this, but I'd say like my average is like 1 to 2 hours a day sometimes, if we're not considering like gigs of practice. However, I did come from a lot of years of more than 3 to 5 hours a day of practice. I had to do that for performing arts school for like years and years and years and years. So I do feel like I have paid some dues, and also it's classical piano to this. It's just a different regimen.
Definitely. Twirling Through says, when are you starting your vlog again?
Oh God, when am I starting my vlog? I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot myself in the foot and say next week. I feel like next week I could start doing like those little like Instagram stories where I'm like, all right, cool. I'm learning, like, these are the kind of songs that I'm looking at learning. Send me a suggestion if you want, DM me, or like maybe I can make it a poll.
Yeah.
Or I could just make it, I want to limit it to some stuff that I'm already working on just for the first week. Let me get used to this. But no, on the last day, I think I'll have a video of me putting at least 2 ridiculously random songs together, because it just sounds fun. Yeah. Like even today, Josh is going to get a kick out of this because I haven't told him yet. But so Josh and I, one of our favorite bands of all time is The Muse. Yeah. And it is exceedingly difficult to try to cover anything that The Muse does because they're geniuses. So I'm already working on a couple of Muse songs so I can start mashing them together, and it's a whole nother looping thing, and it gets like really heavy. It's like really cool, but it's fun.
Yes. I think it's really cool if you do the polls and you give everyone like 3 to 5 songs and say like, here are, 4 or 5 songs that I'm learning. What do you want to like mash up? Because then when people are like, oh, I voted for that song, it's really cool for them. Yeah,
that's pretty dope. I like that.
Do you prefer playing alone or with other musicians?
Alone is where I would say I'm most comfortable because I'm eclectic and very strange and weird. And there are plenty of times where I will be in the middle of a performance and be like, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Yeah. Like, I'll do stuff like that. Like, there's been time, like the loop that I just played for you guys, the Stevie Wonder meets, why can't I think of names? Oh my goodness. Well, that whole thing, that was something that was a whim during a show one time. Yeah. And I mean, it didn't sound that refined, but it was like, I'm just gonna try something. Let's see what happens. It felt, the moment felt right. It just felt like it was time to experiment, and the crowd was with it. It was really cool. So doing that in a group is terrifying if you're not with people that are comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
When I am with people that are like, when I'm with Osh and Justin, yeah, because that's their names. When I'm with Josh and Austin, when I'm with Josh and Austin, oh yeah, I definitely love playing with those guys because we have synergy. Like, it doesn't matter what we're playing, we're having a really good time. And I do want to collab with all kinds of other people. It's just like, until I feel comfortable, you know, with one, you as a person, and two, you as an instrumentalist or an artist or whatever the hat you wear is. Like, I want to make sure that we're at least rehearsed, just so, all right, that was a little too crazy. Let's go back on track. We've established that this stuff works.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Says, will you be on Apple Music?
I will be on Apple Music, and I'm going to be on iTunes, and I'm going to be on Spotify. I'm going to be on all the things.
Everywhere.
So, yeah. It is like full-blown distribution. I'm really excited. I am trying to do this thing. So, yeah.
Cynthia says, when can I buy your first album on vinyl? Ooh, great question.
I hope Josh chimes in because, you know, we probably could actually get some. Well, I was talking about that today. Like, getting, I don't know, like a couple dozen vinyl for like the hardcore fans, or just, I feel like that would be actually really dope. When we were in Nashville, that was one of the like the touristy things that we did. We toured a vinyl factory. So if we wanted to get that done, we pretty much have the contacts to make it happen. That'd be really cool.
There's a lot of people that love and appreciate vinyl, and they still play it, they collect it. You know, people just have rooms and rooms of it. So I think it's like a really cool thing. And then you can put it on your website, and someone can be like, "Yes, this is the first Nelson vinyl that I own."
Oh, that's so wild to think. Oh my God. I mean, I'm down. I'm just.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Josh says we should talk to those guys at Welcome to 1973 and get paid. Heck yeah.
That's what it's called. Welcome to 1973. Yeah, they're awesome. Totally plug them. They're the greatest.
Heck yeah. Yes, I think vinyl is like, thank you, Mimi. That's amazing. The vinyl, like it's so cool to see what fans want, because then it's like, oh, that was such a cool idea. Like, thanks for bringing it to the table.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think that if I do that, I would like to, I mean, man, I guess it depends on how well the single does, but I think it'd be really cool to do that for like the album. So like people that get the vinyl get way more than just one song. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. And it could be like the first edition kind of a thing. Like anybody who, you know, like gets like maybe something in like the first 20 I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Just.
That's cool though.
Yeah, you know, just some kind of like, if you're like in the first, or if you're like really into what I'm doing, like, thank you. This is my way of like making you a part of like the inner circle.
Oh, I love that. That's very cool. So Nelson, do you have any final words for the room?
Final words. Oh, yes, actually. Because I'm going to talk about the most successful that I've ever felt.
Oh, yes, yes, that's correct.
And I love this story. I'll try not to make it too long. It's just so people who think I'm this big successful person, just so you can get an idea of what that word means to me. Out of all the different crazy things that I've accumulated in my life, you know, working with, you know, like being able to perform with Stevie Wonder, working with John Legend, I've worked with Babyface and Mary J. Blige and Kalani, and all this crazy stuff has happened. And it's like, the most successful that I ever felt was at a party. I'm positive that Josh was there because it was his friend group. And it was like a Halloween thing. He invited me one year. I didn't really know anybody, so I was kind of like in the corner with my guitar doing my thing.
Yeah.
And this was before the album was even being written. Like, I had maybe a couple of ideas of some of these songs, but we're talking like very beginning stages of like some of them.
Right.
So I get asked to play something, and so I play Cece's song, or at least a part of it, the part of it that I had ready. And it was cool. It was a nice little moment. I played the song that I wrote for my little sister, and I didn't really think much of it.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, Josh invites me to the same party, and I see a lot of the same people, and it's cool. And this girl comes up to me, and she's like, "Hey, I don't really know you, but I wanted to show you something." She holds up her phone, and I guess it's like her kid sister with a ukulele.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, this person got a video of me doing my song last year at the party. And her little sister watched this video so much that she learned my song. She was covering it on a different instrument, singing my words, playing the chords. And when I was in that moment, watching this tiny little screen of this person that I've never met,
Yeah.
that was the most successful I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I mean, the level that you have to connect to somebody in order for them to want to cover your song, that's a lot. You have to listen to the song a lot to be like, I'm making a decision to reenact this, and then go with it, and then learn the words, which you can't look up because this is like new. There was no way to get this. I hadn't been on The Voice. I hadn't done any, like, I was some random no name. You liked it this much, just the art that much. Whew. Like, when I get to where I want to get to and everything, it's going to be great. I'm going to enjoy all of it because I know myself and I know that I will. Yeah. But when I look back, I'm going to ask myself, did I inspire people? And if I have stories like that, that is my success. That is what I want. I want to, when you guys listen to Freedom, I'm not saying, oh, you have to listen to every single word and look at all the crazy, like, no, like, enjoy the art. I'm going to be stoked if you guys do. Mm-hmm. But if it inspires anybody, like, that is my success. That's what I was shooting for. That is the whole, like, I'm not proud that I won everything. Like, that is the everything. So if you do get inspired, please let me know. It's more fulfilling than I can describe. Yeah, your music is so inspiring, and thank you for continuing to share it. And I'm so excited. I wish Friday was tomorrow because, like, I feel like I can't even wait anymore. You can't wait. Yo, this is wild for me. I'm very excited. I'm so excited for you. So, Nelson, I just want to say thank you so much for coming back. Like I said, third time's a charm. This is the third time on my show. Nelson was one of the first people on my show. And for that, I'm so grateful to you because I feel like we've never met in person, but I feel like we have because we've done this 3 times. I still need to go to New York, and we're getting cheesecake. That's still a thing. All right, cool. Junior's cheesecake. We are once this whole like COVID thing is over and we're safe to travel and stuff. Yes, and then we're gonna meet in person. It's gonna be crazy because I've met so many people over IG Live, and I've never actually sat in the same room or actually met them. So right, really cool. Nelson, thank you so much. I love having you on the show. Come back anytime when the new music drops. When the new music does not drop, if you're bored, let's just do this. Like, seriously. I'm bored. If you're bored and you just want to like get something out, I'm here. I appreciate it. Guys, if you don't, please make sure to follow Nelson on all social media platforms right here on IG, the website, Spotify, DistroKid. We link DistroKid below. Friday, Freedom comes out. Stream it, share it with your friends, cover it, like it. Tell Nelson what you think about it. It's also coming on vinyl. It's coming. Coming on vinyl. I know I announced it for you, but it's coming. We already talked. It's soon. It's real soon. Oh yeah. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And guys, if you don't know me, you're new to me. I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. Give my guy Nelson a follow if you don't already. And please make sure to follow me because I have incredible musicians on my show, just like Nelson all the time. Guys, support good music. Stay safe, and we will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye.